Right, so since last week's topic was a little heavy, I decided that this week we would do something a bit more fun. So let's talk about everyone's favourite ancient Greek philosopher, Diogenes. Oh yeah, I know. Top 5 Diogenes moments, so let's go. But first of all, how can I narrow down the life of a man who used to piss, shit and nut on passers-by in the street for shits and giggles down to just 5 moments? I'm going to try. Diogenes had 2 possessions in his life: the barrel in which he lived and the bowl from which he drank water. One day, when he was down at the river, /spring /watering hole, stories kind of differ, but either way, it was where he was drinking water. He was drinking water from his bowl, and when he looked up, he saw a child drinking water from his hands. He suddenly realised then that he didn't need the bowl and tossed it away. How he never realised that before is beyond me, but that's philosophers for you. For a man who lived in the dirt and didn't bathe or really take care of himself, how he was, supposed to, you may imagine that he died very young, especially considering he lived 2,400 years ago. However, he did live to his late 80s, and not even old age killed him. There are conflicting stories. The most likely account is that he ate raw octopus, but that's not the fun one. That's not my favourite version. My favourite is simply that he had had enough of living and just held his breath till he expired. Very unlikely, but much more interesting in my opinion. And when he died, as per his wishes, he was thrown into the wild.
When I'm dead, just throw me in the trash.
When you search for something in the dark, you obviously need a light source. What about in broad daylight? Diogenes certainly thought he needed one time. He was struggling looking round Athens for something, and he was struggling so much. So my man took a lit candle out into the streets of Athens on his quest to find what he was looking for. He walked up to people on the streets and would say he was looking for an honest man. This was of course because he believed there were no honest men in Athens. The balls on this kid. So Diogenes and Plato were contemporaries. They lived at the same time, and one day Plato thought he would be big and clever and tried to define what a man was. He decided that man was a featherless biped, and at that time there were no known featherless bipeds other than man. Cracked it, right? Wrong. Diogenes was not going to have that, no sir. Diogenes went out there and found a chicken, plucked it. He then waited till Plato was giving a lecture and burst into the room. He threw the bird into the room and screamed, "Behold, Plato's man," which one can only assume was met by his students asking, "What the fuck?" But it was a featherless biped, so he kind of made his point. And finally, number 1, Diogenes, being the original prankster. He had fans in high places, and the most powerful of all his fans was probably the most powerful man at that time period, being Alexander the Great of Macedon. So Alexander goes to Diogenes, his hero, and asks if there is anything in his massive kingdom that he can do for Diogenes. Diogenes states that there is, and seeing where Alexander is stood, asks, "Yeah, stay out of my light." Alexander, in awe of this, declares, if I were not Alexander, then I should wish to be Diogenes." Diogenes replies beautifully to this, "If I were not Diogenes, then I too should wish to be Diogenes." Mate, I love Diogenes, and that's why I wanted to share with you this today, my hero. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember, if you like this video, like, comment and subscribe. Ring the bell for notifications. Follow my socials in the description along with my subreddit and the Mythology Multiverse Discord. My TIL vids is down there too if you're on YouTube, and if you're on TIL, my YouTube is down there. And as always, I will see you next week, babies.